Thanks, Megan. Glad to be here. I'm Jyoti Balani, founder and managing director of FreshRiver.ai and the founder of the New Jersey chapter of Women in Voice. The future of automation is here. Thanks to the pandemic, we are seeing it accelerate. I think recently we had a statistic that said we have basically converged 2 years of automation into 2 months. And a lot of that has been in the space of conversational AI, in particular in voice. Part of the changing of the old guard is really what at stake here. How do you move from the old systems into these new AI-enabled voice systems? The key is finding the right problems to solve with voice. There's a lot of business issues at stake here. It's a fantastic opportunity from an interface standpoint to leverage and create value for businesses. From a human analogy standpoint, I like to explain to people, if you think about an infant virtual being that has a brain, that has heart, that has memory, knowledge base, and also the senses, voice and touch, vision, we're seeing that too, Soul Machines being one of them, really are putting now a skin on top of it, right? Freckles and skin tone. Look how far we've come. The conversational AI adoption rate is growing really, really strong. There's the improvement in algorithms and machine learning models. The language models are improving as we deploy more of these systems out into the wild. But it needs the full human experience to be considered. If you think about the design and development framework, that is clearly important, but also equally important in targeting not just the top and bottom line of the business, it's diversity and ethics. We're seeing way too many failures in those spaces, which is why you need a more broader, more robust framework. This is the work that my team and I do with Fortune 100 enterprises. It's the thinking about, it's not just the AI, it's data and social sciences as well. How do you identify the right problem? We start with data to ensure that we are tackling the right problem, and our knowledge base on what voice can do for the business is really what we bring to bear. The virtual being that I mentioned earlier, if I were to continue the analogy, it really takes a village to raise this infant, going from everything from how you speak linguistically, and also the emotional intelligence pieces. I'm seeing way too many teams rushing into trying to make these systems into adults before they're ready, which also explains a lot of the high failure rates we've seen the last few years. So part of this is ensuring that these virtual beings are taken care of and they're fed. It is a long run game. Where you have to continuously improve and monitor. I want to share the framework at a very high level that we've been helping these Fortune 100 clients with, successfully changing the old voice guard into the new, that are no longer serving the digital age that we all live in. Voice inherently, is a very powerful sense that humans use to communicate since the beginning of time. While technology has made it faster, better, cheaper, now there's a new factor at play that has to be considered in earnest, and that is emotional intelligence. If we are to move forward successfully in the conversational AI domain, we have to ensure we are considering that. Because this is for the first time ever, this is an interface unlike mobile and web, where the technology is coming to us. The machines have to understand how humans speak in order to successfully communicate and get things done. So part of the future of automation, which includes conversational AI, but there is a difference right here. And the difference is we have to consider the fact that we are a lonelier species. Voice offers that clear opportunity to reconnect. And that's how I get the clients to think about what voice does more than just the top and bottom line. The empathy part and the equity part are really important. And how do you do it at scale? And so we have to really educate the teams that work on these systems if we are to do this right. There is an incredible opportunity we have to create profits, and that's both of the capitalistic and the social kind. I think companies that are adopting this technology have a fantastic opportunity, including like the branding teams. I tell them this is one of the most exciting interfaces that you have at your disposal to build brand equity with your audience, but you have to be very careful because if it's not done correctly, it can cause a lot of brand damage. So part of the examples I want to share with everyone is a Fortune 50 retailer that we recently helped move from an old IVR that was on its knees into the next generation conversational AI through this method, through the framework that we deploy. Is a really high stakes situation. We had a lot of support from the executives that showed a lot of courage. They empowered all the teams to make the decisions, to be able to experiment. And it took 4 months of sweat and tears and a lot of heart-pounding moments. But we were able to turn up a pilot production for the first set of stores that they now have rolled out into almost 2,000 stores in North America, which is very exciting. It's one of my favorite projects that I highlight because a lot of good things came together culturally, technologically, operationally, and emotionally as well, relative to how the design was done. So the production pilot approach, what we have learned as we put this framework out working with clients, has worked very well from a mindset standpoint. The teams and the executive leadership support is critical. A strong framework that is communicated across the teams. So everybody's aware of what the expectations are, giving them the room to experiment and maneuver and pivot. Doing a crawl, walk, run approach. Let's start small. You don't have to, spend tons of money on this if you do it right. In closing, I want everybody to understand that there is an unlimited opportunity for voice to solve some real business problems that we have. More important than ever is getting this right. Doing it in smaller chunks. Part of my favorite pet peeve that I start with, as teams come to me and go, we've been doing this for 3 years. These FAQ bots are not working. People don't want to use them. They're bypassing it. And I say FAQ bots don't solve business problems on their own. They're just one part of the journey that helps solve the problem. What you have to do is extract the use case in the correct way. Define the success. What does that look like? Metrics. Ensure you've got all the right probes on this virtual infant to make sure that it is improving over time, because this is a long game. There's a lot to it, but it's very exciting. Really excited to be part of this movement, and also an opportunity here to share with all of you. And with that, Megan, back to you.